kfi.org. Sweet waters, sweet waters.
Hi, this is Farrah with the Datable Rebels. We are doing an episode today about how do you know if you're dating a serial killer. So I have here the girls of the Crimejuicy Cocktail Hour, researcher Krista, wordsmith Becca, and anthropologist Carrie Ann. The first season of Crimejuicy Cocktail Hour can be found on, I feel like I'm doing a commercial, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Buzzsprout, and more. New episodes dropping every Friday. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us on. I'm so excited about this episode. Good.
Yeah, surviving, you know.
So I put a post on Facebook today. This woman, she had a post, and then I commented, and then we had some back and forth, and I posted her comment on my Facebook, and it was about men and dating apps and dating men in general, and just how we have to be super fucking careful because we could get killed. And there were a lot of questions and comments, and one was that stuck out in my head was it seems like, from what I've heard and what I've watched, that the like typical, you know, type of person or whatever man is a white male who kills women or men.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't you done any research on the numbers for that, or like?
I did a final called the Gender Factor of Serial Killing that gives you the numbers on all that, and some of the specific numbers that you need to know about when men start killing, the ages, when they specifically target a certain gender or factor of women. I can't even talk today.
It's okay.
It was more of a GIS study, which is Geographical Information Systems, where you put layers, and then you can take layers off so you can see like some of the swaths of where the killers went across I-70, you know, back in the day. That was really interesting to see. Yeah, we've done, I've done a lot of studies on all kinds of that stuff. I mean, it's just intense. Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is like, I mean, obviously in the like normal world of dating, the worst thing is like to be ghosted or to deal with like a narc or a sociopath or be raped, which is fucking terrible. It's all terrible.
Mm-hmm. Get ghosted by a serial killer.
Right.
I think that would be a breath of fresh air. Right.
Like I dodged that bullet. Like if you get ghosted by someone and then you see him in the news, like having killed like several people, like, oh, I was like really pissed off at the time, but now I feel good.
Thank God. But yeah, no, in a normal world, being ghosted, or like you find out that they're talking to like your best friend and like 4 other people, or they, you know, or in a kind of normal, which seems to be something that I've noticed that has become normal. Like they start dating like your dad or your mom or your uncle, or, you know, weird things like that. But people are like, that's weird. But then you're like, oh, I'm dating a serial killer.
That's extra weird. That's extra weird.
Well, Becca, what about that couple that you were talking about that are
the cannibal couple, the Bakshievs that we talked about in our cannibals episode. Yeah, they they admitted to killing like and eating 30 people, mostly women, and many of whom they met on dating apps. And the one that they got convicted for, Elena, they had her over, and I guess like she was flirting with the husband, and the wife was like, you got to kill her. So he did. And then like they found They had to take like the whole refrigerator down to the police station because there were like pickled body parts, there were cold cuts. It was like a thing.
Like, it's just all evidence. It's just
Yeah.
like the whole thing.
Where were they located?
Russia.
Yes, it was. It's in our cannibal episode. I could not. The name escapes me, but
Yeah, Russia.
yeah, and they were discovered because the husband dropped his cell phone and a road crew picked it up, and they were like, "Let's check out these photos," because the phone was unlocked and there was like a picture of him with like a head, and
Yeah.
you know, not the kind of shit you put on your Tinder profile, but it was in his phone.
So, always lock your phone. Which would be the first sign of a possible serial killer.
It's if they're like scrolling through the pictures to show you something and you see like a picture of a severed head, they're like, "Oh, don't mind that."
Oh, my friend, it's a meme. I mean, it's a meme.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Okay. So since you ladies have been researching this a lot.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Have you noticed some like typical traits?
Yeah.
That someone might be a serial killer?
Yeah, well, one of the cases that I studied really closely because I worked on a book that had this killer involved, Steven Stanko of Myrtle Beach. A lot of my research covered two of the girlfriends he had, his long-term relationships, one of which he attempted to murder her, and the other one he did murder her and then raped and attempted to murder her daughter. Her daughter survived, got away, called the police, but yeah, so his relationships, both the first one and the second one that I delved into, were very much characterized by like excessive lying and excessive excuse making. Like, I guess, for example, if he'd get fired from a job, he wouldn't tell his partner. Instead, he'd get dressed for work, be gone all day, and then come back from work and have like stories to tell, and they wouldn't find out until much, much later that he'd been fired this whole time and who the fuck knows what he was doing all day. Another sign was just whenever he would steal stuff from like his first girlfriend that we studied that he attempted to murder her, Elizabeth. He would steal items from her house and pawn them. He would steal checks from her checkbook, but he was also very insecure that she was making more money than him. So there was this kind of weird, he'd say he owned things that he didn't. He said he was like a professional golfer, he just makes shit up. And if he was like confronted about it, or if she like called him on it, he'd get like angry, violent, like, there was always an excuse. There was never an apology. There was never an admission of guilt. And when he got backed into the corner, he'd get violent. So there's this whole lack of ability to, there's this weird kind of tangent reality that they live in. And when they get confronted with anything that contradicts that, it's like excuse, explosion.
Would you say that'd be like sociopath tendency? Like, is that in the realm of sociopath?
Well, he was diagnosed as a psychopath at first by his brain scans and by like assessments. I think there's some narcissistic elements in that too. But yeah, the whole like living a double life, always having an excuse for things, like never able to apologize, like has an excuse ready kind of thing. Yeah, those sorts of situations, gets fired often for dishonesty and theft. Yeah. Yeah, so it's like if they can't hold down a job, but it's never their fault that they can't hold down a job, or like they can't keep relationships or friendships, but it's never their fault. Like habitual bridge burning, that sort of thing, where it's like if anything in reality confronts their fantasy, they just cut it off.
But then there's people like BTK who held jobs for a very, very long time, had like a functioning family, But she would sometimes find pictures of him in precarious positions or find him also in precarious positions, but more so of like, you have a fetish, you're not talking to it about me or with me because I'm your wife. And like, there's that weird line of just like how some men say they're going to sleep with a prostitute because there's things that they can do with a prostitute that they can't do with their wife.
So it's still that like that alter ego, that double life that they're leading very comfortably. Like, I think the big thing is just like the comfort with leading a double life.
Right.
Yeah.
And like the ability to manage the stress of that eerily well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also, that's hard to do. It's exhausting. I would
Right.
I mean,
That's like our full-time job, like our part-time, whatever. It's a job.
it's a job. Yeah.
It's a job.
Killing is work.
Killing and lying or work.
It's exhausting.
And it's just like, why would you do that when it's just so much easier to tell the truth? I mean, not that you're going to tell the truth that you're like a serial killer or something like that, but like it's less exhausting. So like with the cannibal couple, they found each other.
They found each other.
And they didn't have to keep
How did they meet?
Is it Cannibal Tinder or something? Or
probably in the circuit. Probably.
Okay, cannibal.
Wait, hold up. There's a cannibal circuit?
More than likely, there's a circuit for everything.
Right.
Like that movie Hostel is not a lie. It is not a lie. They're just desensitizing. Don't see it,
but I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's not a lie. Those things happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's cheaper to take people that are on vacation than it is to transport them.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers.
Hold on, I have to go lock my door so we don't get interrupted here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Carrie, what red flags have you seen?
So I like to bring up Liz Kendall with Ted Bundy.
Who is that?
Ted Bundy's girlfriend.
Okay.
One time they went out and they were in a boat, like a little rubber raft boat, and they got out of the boat and they're swimming around and playing around, and he tried to like play dunker, when you're gonna dunk somebody in the water and just have fun, and it's okay. Well, he did it kind of mean and almost like made her feel like she was gonna drown. Little things like that, like something that, I didn't mean it that mean, but she was like, dude, it scared her to death. Like he was going to drown her when he did it and then acted like nothing. I like to use that one as an example because it seems like that would be a minute thing, but it really is a good indicator of what they're capable of doing. If they're able to do that in front of you, what can they do behind your back kind of thing?
Right.
And then minimize it afterwards.
Always minimize it afterwards.
Okay.
Thank you, Becca, because
And then
you were overreacting, gaslighting.
gaslighting. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that's exactly what happened with Stanko and Liz. Like he held a washcloth filled with 409 and Clorox over her face. And then he tied her to a toilet, took a shower, and then afterwards was like, she was like freaking out. And I was like trying to pack. So I had to like, chemical her and tie her to the toilet. No big deal,
And then he like took a shower, like was singing in the shower like a normal person.
And then Keith Jesperson's daughters mentioned some stuff like that in her interviews and podcasts, how her dad would like play wrestle her, but like to a really like scary extent. And then, be like, I was just playing with you. And she's like, I'm in pain and like traumatized,
Wow.
Yeah,
So
so
they're
watch
like,
out for that. Watch out
like-
for that. With the children, watch out for that with the friends.
Mm-hmm.
Not just yourself, but you got to look at the whole situation.
Like causing physical harm to a person or an animal or even just an inanimate object.
Yeah, like
Sometimes.
punching walls, kicking dogs.
Yeah, and it's just
not the dogs are inanimate objects, but
yeah. And then they just kind of walk away like nothing happened, don't acknowledge it. Whatever.
mm-hmm.
You're crazy.
No accountability, gaslighting.
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck?
Yeah.
Wait. Who is this person that tied someone up to a toilet in 409 then? Is this the cannibal couple?
No. This isn't them. They're like, oh, we can't eat her. There's bleach in it. Shit.
Damn it.
Steven Stanko, serial killer from South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is this Reese? I haven't heard of him.
I don't know. This was about what 15 years ago or something like that. Now it's a while ago. He's on death row currently.
Has anyone researched Charles Manson?
Oh, Charles.
Oh,
So do y'all think that Charles Manson is would you consider him a serial killer and that he weaponized people, or that he what do y'all think of that?
That's a good question, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the FBI's definition is 2 or more that you've killed. He didn't kill that we know of.
Yeah, he didn't physically. Well, he did chop someone's ear off.
He did weaponize people, but I mean, theoretically, he's not a serial killer.
Mm-hmm. He's manipulative as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, and I think a big thing that I've mentioned, before this episode, but it's like, even if these people aren't serial killers, they will still fuck up your life. If you're noticing someone you're dating doing these things, like lying about everything and then doing abusive shit and then minimizing it, being dishonest, even if they're not killing lots of people, it'll still suck.
Suck.
And then you gotta be alive to fucking go to therapy and deal with that shit.
Exactly. Gotta live through it.
Yep, and then you end up with survivor's guilt.
Mm-hmm.
And then you deal with your own journey of PTSD more than likely. And I've never dealt. I mean, I've met some crazy people in my life, and I've dealt with some crazy manipulative people, but I don't know how it would be to deal with knowing that you slept in the same bed with somebody that just calmly came home after doing something like that and sat down and ate dinner with you.
And then
I feel like I've come close. I feel like I've come very close to that.
Mm-hmm.
Some fucking weirdos.
I'm so sorry, Farrah. There's so many of them out there that way, the hosers.
There's too many.
Piles of them.
Help me.
Yeah, but you don't have to be a serial killer to be a psychopath. There's other ways to be psychopaths. There's
yeah. What do you mean?
Well, so there's the no accountability part, that I would say that, falls in line with a lot of situations that you deal with a lot of sociopathic people and narcissists. They don't hold any responsibility for anything they do because they don't care.
And if you're dating them, that means it's all your fault, no matter what it is that they do.
Exactly. And that's a sign of being a psychopath. Now, maybe they haven't quite crossed the line of killing people, because not everybody fantasizes about that. But it is, a trait. But, you deal with it with even your boss or even sometimes your friends. Mm-hmm. It is a natural, well, maybe not natural, unnatural, however you look at it, chemistry of the brain. And some people are that way.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm.
So
that's true. I did actually date a sociopath. He told me he was a sociopath.
Wow.
It's diagnosed sociopath. And I was like, oh, shit. Gotta go.
Okay, I don't know, but sometimes,
oh my gosh, the good times with bad people.
Yep, good times with bad people. So that caution to the wind.
So in all of your studies, has there been a certain type of woman that fall for serial killers?
I think from what I've seen, and this is by no means a general statement, but from what I've seen, it's been a lot of overworked single moms who were exhausted and vulnerable. And, I don't think it's because they're weaker people. I think it's just because they're vulnerable, and I've seen that as like a pattern.
People pleasers.
Mm-hmm.
There's a word. What's the name for them? The people that date.
Hybristophilia.
That's it.
Well, that's when they know that they're like a criminal or a serial killer, not just like. I think there's a difference. So like, there's.
Oh yes, you're correct.
Yeah, there's the people that date serial killers because they don't know they're serial killers. They're just like a charming individual that's like really freaking good at manipulating people and presenting as something other than they are. And I think it's like vulnerable, tired, like individuals that are in like, I mean, it's been, from what I've seen, it's been like people that are well,
it's just like abusers. They know who to pick.
Right, and they know
It's
like
it's
their MO. And then how do you pronounce it? Hybristophilia. Hybristophilia. That's when like the person specifically like is attracted to someone because of the crimes they've committed.
Okay.
Right.
And that's
which we're discovering that like Carol Boone with Ted Bundy really doesn't fit that description because she was actually stalking him before he got arrested.
He's all like, I'm impressed.
Yeah, he thought this was weird.
Carol Boone was a case in herself, okay? Honestly. I mean, yes, they would go fuck by the Coke machine, and I thought,
she got pregnant from that.
Oh, I remember that. I watched the documentary and the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I bet if he would have like started dating her, she would have been okay with what he was doing.
Oh, they'd have been like that cannibal couple.
Yes.
Oh God.
Yeah, they would have been like the Bonnie and Clyde of necrophilia.
If you photo album about it.
Like,
they would have had a photo album about it.
I bet that could have happened. I bet she would have been his like
Bonnie
place. Like, okay, it's okay. Like I can come home and like be okay. You'd be okay with it.
Yeah.
But also
he would have to, if it was a really comfortable situation, he'd be able to put a head up on the bookcase. Like, and put it back. That's how comfortable it would have to be because that's what he would
make up on it for him. No, she would put makeup on it for him and make it pretty every day. Make sure it's ready.
For the holidays, Christmas tree topper.
No.
What would have happened if Ted had married Carol Boone before?
Oh my God.
We're fucked up situation.
Got arrested. We should write that movie.
You should. Don't talk about it anymore and write that shit.
Oh my gosh. It's like freaking fanfic, but for what if
do you ladies
crime fanfic?
Yeah,
you know who the guy was on the dating game a long time ago? Who was the serial killer?
Oh, what was his name? He was cute too.
He was super attractive.
Yeah.
Oh.
And there were several women that like contacted him in jail that wanted to and one woman actually married him.
Uh-huh. Well, I think it's interesting because I wonder how many of those people would date someone that they knew was like a serial killer if they weren't in prison.
Right? Because that's
it's
not safe.
Like he's not going to serial kill me or like I don't know.
He's not going to do shit in prison, but like out of prison.
Yeah, I just get to have my like relationship.
The 19-year-old that did marry Manson actually really just married him to get the rights to his body so that she could like tour his body around when he died. So she married him and then she showed up in prison with her 19-year-old, her other, counterpart, her lover, we'll say, and pitched this idea to him after they got married.
Did Charles Manson die?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's what I thought.
I'm not sure if she's carting his body around, but that was the plan.
Well, that sounds like fun.
I mean, for money, people do
The
anything
Manson mobile.
Come on, Charlie. Let's go.
And that was another one of the things that came up is that it is like dating a celebrity, because in a lot of ways these like people become celebrities in the eyes of pop culture. So it's like probably the easiest way to date a celebrity, right?
Yes, I mean,
And I'm thinking that's what's happening.
If you can get past like, because it's hard sending mail to prison. They're like, oh, you put a stamp on it, we can't accept it. Oh, there was like a coffee smudge, it might be LSD, we can't bring that through. Or like, it's so fucking hard to send mail to prison. You can't like, you can't put your coffee cup down on it.
Yep. They'll make photocopies of things, and then like if you send pictures, they look at all of those pictures. And then they also do decide what you get and what you don't get, because they don't want certain pictures to necessarily provoke other prisoners that might be getting out before you.
Right.
So then it's like, you're, oh, my husband's in prison, I'm going to take these sexy pictures. Yeah, no, the guard's going to keep them. Sorry.
Spank bank.
Yeah, so just don't send nudies. They learned the hard way from that one. So.
Oh my gosh.
But we won't talk about that. But anyways. Yeah, no, I don't know. It's just, and it's like all the women who showed up at the Richard Ramirez cases. Like, he got his teeth fixed. He, brushed his hair, didn't smell like a dirty foot inside of a butthole.
Oh, did he get that prison dental?
Yeah, he got his sharp little fangy thing.
Wait, what?
He had his teeth were like destroyed and like full of gingivitis and rotting and like sharp and pointy and just like.
It was part of the way.
Is that how he killed people?
No, he just got bad teeth.
No, but everybody said he smelled horrendous, and that was part of it, was his mouth. So while he was in prison waiting for trial, they fixed his teeth and made him take a shower, and all of a sudden his hair is brushed and Farrah fauceted out, and like he smiles, and these women fucking melt.
Oh my god! Yeah. He's the one who killed his parents, right?
No, he was the night stalker.
Oh shit! I don't know anything about this stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, he just like he was interesting because he didn't really have a pattern. He'd just break into houses and like sometimes he'd rape and kill people. Sometimes he would just like rape or kill them. Like he was kidnapping kids and like molesting them and then letting them go. Like he just was doing all of it in no particular order, but lots of it. He's one of those people where you're like, how the fuck do you have the energy to do all this? That sounds like,
Yep, and he had been pulled over and talked to cops multiple times in between his killing sprees. And then like if he didn't get to like kill somebody sometimes, if that's the mood he was in, he would kill multiple people a night.
Yeah.
And he was a street person, and he had girlfriends on the street, or girlfriends.
Like, do you fucking sleep? Like, when does he sleep? Does he take like one nap a week? Like, I don't know.
Well, that's probably what gives him energy.
Yeah, and he'd like eat snacks in people's houses after he murdered them, and then leave like
peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and shit.
Oh, jelly after killing someone? Jelly?
Yeah, probably. It's probably grape jelly, so it was okay.
Psychopath. and then like he had what our friend Doc called them prison doves. He had prison doves flocking to him, like fighting over him. Like, and again too, it's like, would they have done that if they knew that he was a serial killer, but he hadn't, would they date him on the outside? Like, I don't know. I think some of them would have, but not many of them.
I think some of them are like super like smooth.
Oh, you have to be.
Oh, Doc would never let me meet Keith Jesperson. He forbid it.
Yeah. We gotta give some background on who Doc is and how he got us into true crime and the killers and dating them.
So Dr. Al Carlisle was a psychologist who worked with serial killers. He began the process of doing that in 1976 when he had to do an assessment on Ted Bundy. And after that, he started working with others, all over the country. Started working with Ron Holmes, who's also a very prominent criminologist in Kentucky. He worked with the CIA, the FBI. He worked with ritualistic killings. He worked with multiple personalities. He could get you, if you had multiple personalities, he could combine them. Doc was incredible. He could get anybody to talk to him about stuff, things that they wouldn't talk to anybody about. So
he's the one that could.
Didn't Ted call him once from a payphone when he escaped from prison?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That phone call got leaked out onto the internet, and I have to take it down all the time. And there's like 20 copies up again. I don't know what I'm going to freaking do, fuckers. Yeah. So he escaped from the jail in Colorado, in Aspen. He goes, finds a cabin, stays for a week, gets out, calls Doc after he gets captured. He's like talking to him like it was a Boy Scout camping trip. It was really ridiculous. They don't have the same concept of what you just did. You escaped. You broke into someone's cabin. You know,
I have to say is if he was still alive, he needed to release a diet book, because that man lost like almost 40 pounds in like 10 days to climb to a vent to escape. He need that. How?
That was the second time.
I lost 40 pounds in 10 days. Ask me how.
The first time he just jumped out of a window. The first time he just jumped out of a window. It was the second jail they put him in that was supposed to be more secure, that he lost all the weight for. He escaped from Colorado twice. And then the second, and here I am right here in Colorado. The second he gets down to Florida, he gets a log and starts, Lincoln logging girls. I mean, I'm so embarrassed that happened. Everybody.
I can't believe he killed half of a sorority house with a log.
He was the first documented of his kind, because they've been around forever. But first documented.
Wait, he killed?
Yes, a whole sorority.
Killed a sorority with a log?
Yeah,
he might have killed 2 people or 3 people.
All the while.
Next night he came back and used the log again on another house.
He's like, this log is great. I love this log.
One house, 6 girls, and I think 12 girls, and 3 or 4 of them died, and the rest of them were severely injured. And
and traumatized for the rest of their lives of men, and probably they're sworn off.
They're like, no lumberjacks ever, no construction workers.
None of it.
None of it.
Handsome men.
No landscapers.
Nothing.
Gardeners, maybe. Trigger warning.
But all the while Ted was doing this, he did keep relationships with people that did not know this. He did have multiple girlfriends at some times while he was not in prison.
He was super charismatic.
Yeah.
Suicide hotline.
And a lot of his girlfriends believed that he was innocent. The whole Carol Boone believed he was innocent until the end, right? Or she says she did.
She did. And there are some things that people don't really understand about Ted. When he was in high school, junior high, I think a lot of the reasons why he kind of got his charisma or whatever kind of pushed out or whatever happened, he had really bad acne, you guys. He couldn't get a date.
How did you become a serial killer?
So he decided to kill people?
I think that was part of it, was because he couldn't get a date, and he would go sneak around, and he was a peep and Tom. He started out peep and Tomming, and he wanted to make sure that he could be invisible. So that was his little play thing he was playing, and it just got out of hand.
Yeah, but he was off to begin with, because you have to be, obviously.
Right.
Well, no, because people talk about him, and they always say he was that person that was good with everybody but not good at anything.
Oh, interesting.
And he was smart. He was
smart, but he wasn't good at sports. He wasn't good at group activities. He wasn't, but he was nice. He was caring. He gave off that appearance of being assimilated.
So he
Right.
was like the person that everyone liked, but nobody knew.
Yep.
Like they would go skiing. He would go skiing, but he wouldn't go to the party that night.
Right. So he kept like a buffer between himself and others.
Yep. At all times.
I guess that's another red flag.
Well, and
Like,
also,
like,
It
okay.
is. It is a red
Okay,
flag.
so-
yeah, no close friendships and like very few lasting friendships.
and everybody has a different opinion on you.
Yeah.
So then, like, what do we tell these women, myself included, I guess, that go on these fucking I hate them, dating apps.
Well,
Like, what are the red flags we should look out for?
Well, we're gonna tell all y'all out there, don't fuck with Farrah, because then you'll have to deal with us. So just don't
And
do it. Just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Don't fuck with
and I
Farrah.
have like, I have a superpower that nobody knows of, and I'll bring it out.
Well,
It's
I mean,
true.
yeah. So, yeah, there's the obvious. Don't go home with them.
Don't drink. Don't go fucking out on a date and drink with them and and go to their house. Who is that person? Okay, so I watch a couple different shows like on Hulu or whatever about dating. And there was one about this guy in Seattle who had dated this woman for like 2 months and she thought she knew him. And I think he finally came to her area and they went out and they had drinks and she was, like they were intoxicated and he invited her back to his hotel room. And then he killed her and cut her up in tiny pieces. This was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Five plus maybe years ago. So, I mean, like they had been dating. She thought what's that?
Be careful. Yeah, I guess tell a friend where you're going.
Yes, always tell a friend. Don't let them pick you up. Meet them where you're going. Go home.
Yeah. Or let them get drunker than you.
Yes, let them get
How
drunk.
about we roofie them?
Well,
Just
I
kidding,
mean,
just kidding.
I think there's laws. But I mean, if they're for it, go for it. No.
I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
If it becomes like a regular dating thing, like as much as some people are like, oh, my friends cannot meet who I'm dating because they will ruin it. If they like avoid it for like ever, like say you're meeting them like for a year and you haven't met a friend, a family member, even in passing, like coming to and from or whatever, like maybe push that issue.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can I meet your friends? Like, oh, you've met my friends. Like, why don't we all get together and see if we can like, maybe play Cards Against Humanity or something.
I think another big red flag is if you just catch them in a blatant lie. Like if they say they own the house that they're living in and then you find out they're renting, that's something, I mean, it's not necessarily something that serial killers do, but it's something that like psychopaths and narcissists and shit do. It's like if they're lying about what they own, what they do if they say that they do something for work, but then you find out they do something else or they're unemployed or whatever. Not that either of those things are bad, but it's like if they're not upfront with you about the day-to-day realities of their life, like telling lies that they can get easily caught in, that's like a big red flag because it shows like an extreme comfort with living a double life. On like a very surface level, it shows that they don't let people in deeper than the surface level. So catching them in lies, it's catching people in lies is a big red flag.
Yeah. And I would say like maybe not showing interest or having empathy. Obviously.
Yeah, look out for lack of empathy.
Or accountability, gaslighting.
Yeah, like a big thing is like if someone's like trying to tell you how you're feeling or telling you you're crazy or like telling you you're misremembering things, like I don't know. And I'm not going to name any names, but I was in a relationship once where I had to keep screenshots of conversations we had to fact check.
Wow.
Stayed in that one for way too long, but it was like to the point where I was having to document conversations to make sure that I wasn't crazy. It didn't have to get to that point, but I let it. But y'all don't have to.
No, You don't. I'd say another thing is like when you see them blatantly do something, like you call, like, say they just decide to pour a cup of water on the floor right in front of you.
Just like
Right in front of you.
They're either a cat or they're a psychopath.
Yeah. And
and
and you look at them and you're like, why did you do that? And they're like, what are you talking about? I didn't do anything. Or if they make like you lie about, or if they like make you lie and steal, make sure that they have what they need.
Like pressure you to do something that you don't want to do, sort of thing.
Or misrepresent them, like if you're feeling pressured to misrepresent them and like, I mean, there's something about dishonest people where it's like if you get too close to them, they make a liar out of you because you have to keep secrets for them.
Yeah, you have to, it's like, and then because they did, it's like their form of control. And then it's also, you have to protect yourself because you're like, oh my God, everybody's going to tell me that I'm a freaking idiot.
Yes.
Like,
Well, and there's that like psychological thing where it's like, don't keep making a mistake because you've spent a long time making it already. And there's that thing where it's like, I've invested so much emotional labor, so much of my life, so much time, in many cases, so much money in this relationship. I've got to get something out of it.
That's what I'm guilty of. I feel like I've invested so much. I'm like, God damn it, this is going to work. You're going to test it now.
You're Viking?
No, not the Viking.
Not the Viking.
Okay. The common law. The common law.
Common law. Yeah.
I mean, don't move to Colorado I'm just saying, telling people, do not move to Colorado. That is the dumbest law I have ever heard of.
Because you'll be common law married in 6 months.
I'm married, but
and if they're a psychopath, they will try to get alimony from you.
Oh my God.
6 months. 6 months. No.
That is the most asinine thing I think I've heard in a long time. And there's like been some shit going on, that we've been hearing. But like fucking 6 months.
It's like COVID and storming the Capitol, all this bullshit. Common law in 6 months. Fuck. That takes the cake.
That's just ridiculous. It's the Mormons. I blame them.
Becca had to bake me a cake for my divorcement. It was all real. I had to go through it. It was terrible.
That is ridiculous.
And she had to come out and spend like a week on the mountain. I had to make her a cake with Hennessy in it. It was actually really awesome. We should totally do that again, even without a divorce. That was amazing.
I was going to say, we have to figure out how to make one to like celebrate that it's spring and birthdays.
Oh, a different kind of booze.
How about like a blondie with like a blonde brownie with
weed?
Well, there's that, but for the liquor, we could do like a banana cream or a
there's this liqueur that's like vanilla orange. Or
we could do
I'm coming over. I'm gonna come to this.
Hell yeah.
We don't have any serial killers there for you to date, though. Okay, Farrah, we're not going to let you date.
I don't know.
I don't date serial killers.
On purpose.
On purpose. I mean,
I date narcissists and sociopaths, apparently.
But not serial killers.
But not serial killers.
It's just American men.
Not that I know of.
Yeah, I think every person, man or woman, has a level of sociopath and narcissism in them.
Definitely. Well, I've heard, because I've done a little research on the narcissist, that we all have like degrees of narcissism. And, like there's a healthy level, and then there obviously is like the spectrum.
Yeah, we all have to have that. I got up today and I am that bitch,
But sociopath is different.
Yes, but there's a difference.
There's a difference.
Yes.
Yeah, between being like that bitch and a fucking crazy bitch. Like, there's a difference.
Like, there's that bitch and then there's that
bitch.
And then there's the bitch that's like, oh, I just like fuck some shit up and I don't even care. Like, I don't even know why are they even worried about that? What is why?
Well, it's always someone else's fault. It's like, oh, I crashed your car because you let me drive, you fuck. Or like,
You should have known better.
and it's your fault.
Yeah. Or like, I killed all those people because you were busy tonight. Or like,
Oh my
Or no. The best one for just like normal dating of not like a serial killer is, well, you were gone and like I got like drunk with my friends and it just like happened.
I had to fuck her.
Like she came on to me. Like it wasn't my fault. Wasn't my
That's not
fault that
even
she
a
ran
sorry
into
fault.
my knife. Wasn't my fault. Like
I was just hold again.
she
And
tried
she
to
just
run
came
away.
at me.
I had to go get her. Like shouldn't have fought me.
Then
Like,
she was a witness, and
jeez.
Jesus.
So wait. Hold on now. I have to go back to this cannibal couple. It's funny, but it's not funny, but it's fucking funny.
You gotta kind of laugh.
I know.
Russia has a cannibal problem. Russia has a cannibal problem,
It does.
Farrah. It
It's-
seriously does. They're
Why do you think that is?
Poverty. They've suffered famine, war.
They've got a nihilistic attitude.
Yeah.
Is not
They are
apparent.
fucked up.
And I mean,
They're kind of fucked up.
yeah.
We like Russians, we do, but
Yeah.
they
They have really good food. I really like their food. And
I do
their
too.
men are pretty cute.
there's some cute ones.
But wait, Becca did the research on the cannibal couple, right?
We all did, yeah.
We all did. I found
Oh.
them. I was
Tell me a little bit more about this.
well, they've been cannibalizing for quite a while because when the police raided their apartment, they found like an actual photo album.
It was
Dating
like
back
2
to, like,
decades.
Like 80s, 90s. They got caught in 2017. So
Okay,
the
so
photo
what are their
album-
names again?
The Bakshivis.
Yes,
Oh,
the
I-
Bakshivis.
That's it.
Yeah. Natalia and what was his name? Natalia and what's his face Bakshiv.
Yes,
It's on the Cannibals episode
Bakshiv.
of Crime Juicy Cocktail Hour.
I apologize.
We
are
want
working.
you all, to whoever's watching this, to check out the Crime Juicy Cocktail Hour, the cannibal couple, because you're gonna want to know what this is about.
Yeah, the episode's called Cannibalism. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, we go into a couple other situations in countries that also have a history of a lot
Mm.
of human eating and saying, well, like
Ooh, yeah, but this is the one that specifically had I like met this couple on a dating app and like, yeah, threesome sounds cool. Oh no, I'm in a fridge.
but yeah, they had a photo album going back to like probably before like I was born, like late 80s, early 90s. I was born in 88, so like back then and up into 2017. Like where do they get their photos developed?
I was thinking that too, because it's like, are they all Polaroids? Because they're not all Polaroids because he has them
they
on
were
his phone.
Quick
Did you-
camera photos in a photo album. Just
Could you imagine being like the guy at
Like, who the
Walgreens,
fuck is
like developing
those
it?
fucking pictures?
Yeah, exactly. I want to know who their developer was. I mean, I know there's like the don't ask, don't, say anything unless it's like horrific, but there was literally a head. So they were not classy about it. They had a head on like a silver platter with like oranges around it, but they like didn't even cut the oranges or anything. And like,
Maybe they thought it was like a Hollywood prop.
it was like
or-
tacky.
They
Like,
didn't kill
they
the
weren't even
oranges.
like classy about it. I mean, I feel like if I was going to eat human head and go to the trouble of getting a silver platter, at least make it classy. Come on. And
Cut
if
your
you're gonna
fucking
take
oranges
pictures of
at
it,
least.
like, and I'm sure there's some weird underground magazine for this, so it could be like Home and Gardens, cannibal style. Make it classy, but it was not classy, and so it was a very thick photo album just sitting on the coffee table
Well,
with their scalped.
Well, and they
head.
were like,
But I think she wore his wigs.
well, and
they
they
would
were
snap.
drunk like the whole time. Could you imagine? They're like, oh, we got to stage this photo shoot. And then they just kind of gave up halfway and took pictures. Or I don't know.
any of you done research on Ed Gein?
Ed Gein, he's from Wisconsin, another one of our fellow Wisconsin psychos.
He's interesting. He's very interesting.
I don't know. What's he like?
He was schizophrenic.
Okay.
He had mommy issues, and first he started digging up bodies, and he had like bowls made out of skulls, and he made furniture out of skin and things like that.
Shades.
Yeah, and his whole house was just disaster, except for his mom's room. He had that boarded up. It was completely pristine, nice, beautiful. And then eventually he went to killing people, and he started he only actually really killed 2 people.
He didn't kill very many. He only killed 2 people.
He only killed 2 people, and he only got caught because it was 2 people that he knew. And the townspeople knew him, and they knew that he was off. They knew that he wasn't very smart. He had the IQ of like maybe a 12-year-old, I think it was. He wasn't very he had a lot of issues, and his schizophrenia was his mom telling him that if he killed these people or gathered enough of these bodies, because he would look at the obituaries and go dig up fresh bodies.
So it's like some Bates Motel shit.
Yeah, if he got these bodies, she would come back to life because his mom is everything.
The movie it's based on is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Part of it.
Part of it. That's Ed Gein.
Part of it. And there's a couple other ones sprinkled in there.
Who else? I want to know.
I don't know it off the top of my head, but I know there's Ed Gein. I know that there was actually somebody in a Texas town that did cook people and put it in the chili.
Yeah.
That part of that is in there too. Mm-hmm. And then, who was the other one? I forget who the other one was, but it wasn't just all Ed Gein because he never chased people and he never wore skin masks.
Okay, because I thought it was only him. He didn't have like weird
family members. He was by himself. Like he did have a brother, but his brother wasn't as attached to his mom as he was.
Okay.
So his brother had moved out. His brother was gone. He was like, nah, that's just I can't. Whatever's going on in that house, I want nothing part of. So like, Ed Gein was. He was a very, very special case. Mm-hmm. He would never have actually went into the dating pool. He did not know how to deal with even talking to children.
Well, so do you think like a lot of these would be like incels instead of people on dating apps, or like I don't know.
And that's another thing. What if you find yourself an incel on one of these dating apps, huh?
Incel?
Jeez.
What if you end up in ISIS or not ISIS? What is that one that all the people from Minnesota keep getting in trouble for?
What are you guys doing in Minnesota?
What
are you guys doing in Minnesota?
Oh, there's one of the terrorist groups and one of the incel terrorist groups keep getting a bunch of people to like be recruited.
Oh gosh.
Defect from, and it's a bunch of women, and then they go over there and they find out, oh, these men don't really love me. I'm just their sex slave.
Oh no, I was talking about an incel. I'm talking about an incel.
What's an incel?
Yeah.
So an incel is an involuntary and celibate person. They've got a really bad attitude against women. They call us Beckys and Kens and shit like that.
They're basically like, I'm a nice guy. Why won't anyone have sex with me? And then they like kind of formed an internet culture on it, and they hate women.
And it's bad. They've had to shut down 4chan. They've had to shut down several forums. Mm-hmm. We've had several killings from where the people would just basically mow down people. They had that guy in Toronto that mowed down all those people. We had that guy who was the director's son in LA. That shot a bunch of people. He filmed that video right before he did it. It's a creepy video too.
Well, it's a fucked up phenomenon because like these people have come together in this community based on like no one wants to fuck me and like I deserve sex from women and they're not giving it to me. But then if any of them like get a girlfriend or get laid, they're out of their shitty little club, so they lose their identity and all their shitty friends. So it's kind of this like self-perpetuating cycle.
Ed Gein might have been considered like an incel type back in the day. He was not able to date. Nobody would have had sex with him.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been able to participate.
Okay.
And then, but I don't know if he was pissed about it like the ones are getting now. They're really getting mad. And
Yeah, no, he was more mad about his mom being dead.
yeah.
Like he didn't go to prison. He went to the psych ward.
Yeah.
Like there was no prison involved. Like just
No prison
we're
for
gonna
Ed
put
Gein.
you here, we're gonna give you some medicine. Just
My heart kind of goes out to him, actually.
his was a little sad. His was a little sad.
Yeah.
It was horrific and just
He was
crazy.
all fucked up in the head, obviously.
Yeah, to see that, you know, somebody's brain works that way without like,
Mhm.
and he, this might sound weird and people will be like, what the hell is wrong with you? But like, he wasn't necessarily being malicious. He just
Right.
wanted his mom.
Oh, buddy. Well, that's another thing that comes up with like women that are dating serial killers is like this assumption that they see like this sad, scared child within them and want to nurture that sad, scared child and like
Yeah.
see the innocence of in them and like bring it out. And
To fix it. To
fix it. Well, because it's so
Right.
deeply ingrained in women where it's like, oh, I can like fix this person. It's my like obligation to fix this person, even if it fucking destroys me. And I'm glad that that kind of mythos is becoming undone.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
We got to keep working on it because it's
Oh yeah.
deep in there
Oh,
and it comes out at times you don't expect.
There are some like, there was like, I forgot where I saw it, but maybe on a dating site or something that I posted or whatever, but a guy was saying, well, whatever, like you get bombarded by messages on dating apps. So, you know, like you should be happy with that, but they don't fucking know what we get bombarded with. Dick pics, like all kinds of bullshit fucking messages, like,
Mhm.
oh, you know, just, but so what I'm saying is these guys are like, oh, you shouldn't be complaining that you're single or whatever it is, you know.
Yeah,
whatever
you're getting
complaints
all
we
these
have.
dicks in your inbox. Like,
Whatever complaints that we have as
Yeah.
single women,
Mhm.
but, you know, like they're complaining that they're the good guys and that they
Yeah.
don't get any action.
right.
So these,
like,
I'm assuming these are some of the, what are they called?
incels. That's exactly who we're
people.
talking about.
Yeah.
Exactly what we're talking about. That same
Mhm.
attitude.
Yeah.
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 Well, yeah.
Where it's like you're getting harassed, you shouldn't be upset. Or
Right. At least you're getting
Yeah.
attention. No, motherfucker. That's not the attention that we want.
Well, and you know, as much as men don't like to admit this, they are also offended by unwanted sexual advances.
Of course,
much
if
as
they're
they
not
don't want to
attracted to the
admit it.
woman or the person, they don't want that. They don't want that attention.
Yeah, no, and like as much as they don't want to admit it, they're all they. It's like, okay, so you don't like that. What about like?
right. Well, and there's that double standard where it's like, oh, boys will be boys versus that bitch is crazy. And it's like,
Yeah, 'cause-
yeah.
Yeah.
I think another thing I wanted to bring up to you about like a red flag about am I dating a serial killer or something like that is if they just don't add up.
Right.
yeah,
Mhm.
Like meaning like their actions are not adding up to their words or all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or just the things that they tell you about their life just like aren't actually reflected in what they do. If they just don't add up or like if they like there's it gets murky too because it's like, you know, there's that thing where it's like you need to be able to count on someone, but then you don't want to be like, oh, where were you? But if I don't know, it's a really gray area. And if someone knows how to manipulate the language of like you're being overbearing versus like you're grilling me because I'm being dishonest it gets confusing.
And it's bullshit that they do that to you. I
Mhm.
don't like that. You know, I'm not trying to be overbearing. I'm not trying to whatever. I'm just
Mhm.
trying to explain. You're explained to me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah. It's like, hold on, you told me you were doing this.
Well, and
But
it's
then
not
you
that,
were
like,
later.
yeah, and it's not that uncommon. I mean, I recently heard about a situation where a friend had a roommate who would like dress up in scrubs and leave every night and say he was like going to work as a surgeon and then show up at his girlfriend's house in his scrubs and say he just got off his shift working as a surgeon. and then come back in the morning in his scrubs and say that was a long night.
What the fuck?
You know, and this shit happens.
Oh my god.
Like,
poor girls. Poor girls. That's a psychopath right there.
right?
Where was he getting that much money? Because I mean, I know surgeons and doctors are in debt for life. So like
Catfishing, bitch. Catfishing.
he would catfish people for money.
Love scams.
Oh my god.
You know, and this is just shit that I hear about in passing during COVID, living up on my fucking mountainside, talking to no one. Like, this shit happens.
So
Wow.
where did the women find good guys?
At the gym. You've got to go to the gym. You've got to go hiking. You have to go do shit that is wholesome.
I don't know.
I would back in the day, I'd tell you maybe go find one in church, but don't do that.
No, they're even crazier.
Do not go to church.
No.
Not for a man. Not for a man.
No, I think just going and doing the stuff that you enjoy doing. And it's just, I mean, it's such a different time right now.
Yeah, I mean, I met mine in middle school. So, like, I don't know. I've been out of the game no. We didn't start dating till we were in our 20s. But, like, I met him a long time ago. So, like, I don't know.
Yeah, you've got to put yourself, like Becca says, in the place where you're going to be anyway. The library, you know, that kind of stuff.
Oh no, Steven Stanko met his last girlfriend at the library that he murdered.
Shit. Strike that, reverse it.
But also, I mean, if you think about it, they think that way too. They're like, okay, well, I like doing this and I want to kill this specific type of person. I'm going to go and do this thing that I like doing.
So that's only for organized serial killers, right? Just for organized psychopaths.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's they do this, like, as much as it sounds weird, a lot of the ones that, like, you end up dating, they do a lot of the normal things that you and I do to them.
Right.
To a point.
Uh-huh.
To a point.
They do.
There's that point.
Mm-hmm.
I think the answer is like trusting our fucking guts.
Yeah.
I really, really do, because I've had some alarms where I'm like, nope, and I've listened to them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the person was psychopath, whatever, but I know my gut was telling me to not fucking do it, and I didn't do it.
Mm-hmm. Every time I haven't listened to my gut, I've regretted it.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard a great explanation for that.
I'm being prejudiced. I've got, whatever, no, you're not. Just it's a gut feeling that you need to start taking seriously. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
And I think we all are guilty of that.
I don't know.
Definitely.
It's all about vibes too. Like, they don't vibe with your vibe. Like, if you just get that that feeling.
Right.
Like, it might be one of those situations where, like, it's a good bed situation, but nothing else. Like,
or if they rush it really fast, like rush into feeling super freaking fast and love bomb you, and all the classics.
Narcissist, run.
Run. They don't love you. They just love you being in love with them.
Yeah.
What dating apps have you tried, Farrah? What dating
I've been on Bumble. I've been on Tinder. What was the other one? Hinge.
I've seen that one, the one where it's just supposed to delete it.
Right. Like it's designed for you to delete it. Like they find. So with Hinge, it seems, because I didn't pay for any of them. I did pay for Bumble once. But
I've heard Bumble's good. I've heard good things about Bumble.
I don't like any of them. I think they all fucking suck, honestly. Like, I'm not a fan of dating apps because you get bombarded with all these people that you match with. Some of them you never talk to. Some of them you talk to for, like, I don't know, a couple minutes, maybe a day, maybe a couple days. Everybody falls off. I have only met maybe 3 people ever from any of the apps.
Wow. Do you tell them that you have a dating podcast?
I'm not on any of the apps right now. I should say that actively. I think I say, like, I have a dating podcast, and then they come up and they're like, so am I like research for a dating podcast? And I'm like, dude, it's not that interesting. Like this, our conversation, he and I, whatever, is not that interesting. No, you're not going to be research on my podcast, you know? Because it's like, I want to talk about this shit. I want to talk about like the psychology of dating. I want to talk about not just like having interaction with people on dating. It's fucking boring. It's so boring. They don't stick. It doesn't stick. It's a very disposable culture, instant gratification culture. Everybody wants like whatever they want. If they don't have it, they're going to go to the next person, It's like swiping. It's so gross to me.
Yeah. And relationships take fucking work. Like, you know, not necessarily bad work, but like they do take work.
Yeah.
And it takes those
bad work.
It takes like being okay with being uncomfortable for a couple days until the conflict resolves itself and not like, you know.
It's a commitment. It's a commitment to decide to commit to working on being in this relationship.
And to growing together.
Yes, and sometimes it takes fighting over the way someone shredded a block of cheese to work through the fact that you were upset about something that happened 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with that. You have to find, like, when you find that person, when, you know, and you're not just going from person to person to person, you find that person, you have to be okay with sometimes knowing how they process situations and when to, like, strike. I know I'm not saying that, like, in a malicious way. You just have to, like, know what, and sometimes I am I've been married for almost, I'll be 7 years this year. We've been together for 9 years. I know when to bite my tongue, but sometimes I don't. And then that's when the block of cheese situation happens. But a lot of work comes from that damn block of cheese. Usually it's like the best dinner, but it was,
I think it's worth it.
It is. It is, because then you figure it out and then you have awesome makeup time.
AKA sex. The good sex.
Oh, here he comes.
Oh, hi.
Oh, baby boy.
Here's Albert.
Albert. Baby boy. Hi.
He's like, I'm looking for a girlfriend.
Where's that coming from? Albert. Baby. Oh my God, you're so cute. Yeah.
I love the ears. I love the ears.
He's my boyfriend now.
What?
Yeah. He's my boyfriend now.
Albert, we found you a girlfriend.
We decided. And now we're common law married because it's been 2 seconds.
Albert got married in Colorado.
Farrah's world.
Oh,
Albert's like, oh shit, I'm married in Colorado now. I gotta get out of here.
so I have a couple questions about, like, Tinder, because I kind of missed that wave. Say me and my husband, we started dating when I was 23, 24.
And now it's the pandemic, so I don't know how anybody's doing it.
So, like, it's like when it started, and like we were like, I had just gotten out of a really serious relationship and whatever, and like I didn't know anything about that. Like I was still about, like, why don't you just, like, go out and, like, meet people? like why not? And, like, so I miss that. So, like, so I always heard people like, oh, I'm gonna meet my Tinder date. Is it like you're not actually meeting as many people as people said that they were? Or was it just like a really awesome tool for people who have sex addiction?
I think
both.
I think it could be both. I think it could be all, because I've met people who actually have gotten married from Tinder.
Okay.
I've met people who, like, would be like serial daters. Like, I'm going out with so-and-so like fucking 7 days a week, getting dinners.
Okay. So that was a real thing.
And then there are people that I'm imagining. I don't know. It hasn't been confirmed, but I'm pretty sure that go in there for sex.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's the people I know or knew at that time. Maybe that was at that time. So now I no longer have to question who I'm hanging out with. But like at that time, that just seemed like that's all it was for, was to just wham, bam, done, get your thing, or for people to make money.
Right. No, I think every dating app can be used for that, honestly. Like,
Well, yeah.
I think Tinder had the stigma of that for sure at first.
Well, like do you remember Plenty of Fish?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was really big when I was like 19, 20, like when I was just becoming an adult, when 18 actually meant becoming an adult back then.
I do know someone that got married off of that one.
Yeah,
Still going good.
They're still married too. Whoop, whoop. But like that's Plenty of Fish back then. That was a huge thing. And what was the other one? There was like Plenty
Okay,
of Fish.
see?
Yep, there's that one. And then like Match.com. Like, have you ever been on Match.com or any of those? How would you compare those ones to the phone ones?
I've been on Match.com. I've been on OKC. I think I did eHarmony for a minute. I did not like the people they matched me with. I was not attracted to them.
On OkCupid, don't they show you your nemesis too?
No, not that I know of.
Oh. Yeah, because I remember my roommate was on OkCupid and she's like, it's my nemesis. He's a 0% match. And of course he like messaged her and like was like, we should meet up and fuck. And she's like, of course my fucking nemesis wants to fuck me. Like,
of course.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Right?
That would be like a challenge. Wouldn't that be like a challenge? I mean, I don't want to get yes.
It would be battle. It would be a battle fuck. And those
Crimejuicy, or what is it? Like Datable Juicy, like nemesis dating challenge. So it's like
no.
for a month.
No, it would be a Viking battle fuck. That's
Oh my God.
You can't fuck your match, but you can fuck your nemesis.
Exactly. That's why they do it, probably. They say 90 days, no fucking, but you can fuck your nemesis.
Right, there you go.
It says 90 days, no fucking.
No
Except
problem.
for your nemesis. The only person you can fuck is your nemesis, but you have to date your match. And then so long you can...
Well, you're fucking your nemesis.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's a good balance.
It is.
It's a whole new company.
We need to come up with our own fucking dating app because this is some bullshit. All of it.
This might work. This shit might actually do.
The Juicy Rebels challenge. Or
me?
Yeah, Juicy Rebels challenge or something like that. We could like mash up the name.
Oh no, I have a name. I'm not saying it on here though.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
People might steal my shit. Not you guys, but people watching.
Bubble.
People watching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're on.
Yeah, because like it's just not working these days. For the people that I actually do talk to people on the dating apps and just ask them questions like how are you having success? You know, like they're just like, this fucking sucks. I meet people, I match with people, but if we don't really talk, or if we talk, it's not that we don't really talk that much. And so it's not working for like, I would say 90% of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And now we're in a pandemic, right? So like,
yeah. So it's like, do I go meet this person who possibly get sick, or do I just stay home?
Or like you meeting somebody, like I met somebody in Barcelona, and we've been talking, not so much lately, but like for like almost a year now.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And so like there are people like me, you know, that have met people from different countries that they haven't, obviously they can't meet. Not now.
Can't. And they won't let Americans go anywhere. They could come here and fuck us, but we can't go there.
Damn it.
Bullshit.
We can't go there and enjoy their time.
No, because we're in a red zone. Nobody
I
wants
don't
it.
think that they can come here. Some places can't come here though, yeah?
Well, they don't want them coming here. They don't want anybody coming here. They don't.
I don't know.
What are we gonna do, you guys?
I don't know what we're gonna do. I'm serious. I don't know what we're. You better get the goddamn vaccine. That's
This is
all I
some
know.
fucked up shit.
We got to get these girls out of the country so they can go do their thing. It's important. It's important.
It is,
And hopefully they're not serial killers.
Right? And what if that happens if we show up in Barcelona and fucking wherever else and they're serial killers and then we're
You guys will have to like meet in the middle. Like, what's the halfway point between Norway and Barcelona? Like somewhere in
Asheville.
That means we're going to be staying in Asheville for quite a while.
Yeah, y'all just decompress on the mountain. We've got a gas stream. I'll make you both a divorcement cake or a
Serial killer.
Yeah.
Cake.
I'd say like dating a serial killer cake and the divorcement cake are probably the same cake.
I think so. The recipe should work.
get rid of a psychopath, getting rid of a narcissist, abuser.
Mm-hmm.
Also, abusers and serial killers share a lot of the same traits. They will, I don't necessarily know that they'll get as like aggressive as like abusers and keep you away from your family and keep you away from your friends and stuff. If anything, they'd probably encourage you to, fill your time. But
right, because they need a lot of time.
But still, at the same time, if they're not getting your attention, like an abuser, they're gonna make it known, and you are going to get some form of like weird punishment.
Right, they'll test you, they'll play games with you. And the big thing too is if you catch them in a lie and there's no way out, like, because they will excuse, but they will never apologize, not really. And if you back them into that corner, if they back themselves into that corner, there's a blast radius. They'll lash out violently. And even if they didn't go into it with the intention of hurting you or worse, like it could happen.
Or it'll be your fault that girl died.
Right. Because like protecting their alternate reality is more important than anything else.
Yep. So because you confronted them and made them feel uncomfortable with something that you noticed, they had to go out and kill so-and-so or commit such and such crime and make sure that they could come back and you not know about it. And it'd be okay then that line has not been crossed. They're not doing anything wrong.
It's still your fault.
Yep. It's not their fault. It's
I had acne. It's not my fault. I had acne. It's not my fault. I got pants in middle school. It's not my fault.
Do the same thing. Cheaters do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
The same exact thing. So it doesn't matter if they kill people or if not. It's just there's
the fuck up your life.
There's a line of healthy psychopath and unhealthy psychopath. I would consider an unhealthy psychopath somebody that crosses that line and has decided that murdering is the only thing that is going to make them feel whole as a person. And then there's just that psychopath that is what, like the normal type of breakfast psychopath.
Farrah, have you dated anybody on the apps that made you feel nervous, that made you feel like maybe they could be one of those that we're talking about tonight?
I dated this one guy. Forget his name. Doesn't matter. And he was just off. I remember meeting him in the daytime, and we went like on a date in the daytime with like his dog, and he was just like really disconnected from, I don't know what, but I could just feel that there was a disconnection with him and connecting with me. I don't know what it was, but it was just like, it was off. And I listened to it, and I actually, we had a couple more dates after that. And then I ended up just blocking him. And then he found me, he texted me on like from a different number or something like a long time ago. I was in Seattle, and like, he texted me something, and it was just an icky feeling. And I paid attention to it. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised.
And if you did it once, you'll probably do it again. Like one of those guys. The cold-blooded ones, not the hot-blooded ones.
He was not someone that had like seem like he had a conscience or like empathy. He very much was lacking empathy. That was obvious. I was, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
And like, I feel like for the most part, I have a good sense about people and like feeling their energy. And I have been fucking very lucky I've been single I'm 44. I've been single for most of my life. I have dated several men. Most of them have been people I've known from like my neighborhood, from me knowing them from years and years. So I haven't really met very many people on dating apps. But I feel like I do have a good sense of like a person's energy for the most part. And I do listen to it.
Good thing, because do you remember back in December 2018 here in Minnesota in St. Cloud, the woman that was murdered by a man that she actually met at a wedding? Her husband and her were swingers. And she met this man at a wedding and she went on another date with him. And the second date, he ended up taking her to his home and killing her. And when the police arrested him, he told them that he had planned on killing her the first night that he met her and the first date that they went on. But the voices in his head told him no, to wait. And yeah, this happened in Minnesota, Farrah. St. Cloud.
I didn't hear about that.
And recently he was found incompetent to face trial.
Whoa.
That's hard to get.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
If he pleads insanity, he's gonna win. Because he's incompetent. So if he does get convicted with anything, he'll go to a psych ward for the rest of his life. If that. I mean, well, for a big chunk of his life. Or all.
God, these fucking guys. Like it all comes back for me to this post that I put up today of this woman who I quoted. And like this man that she had not met yet. And she said that we had maybe 50 words, asked her to go over to his house, bring alcohol and have a good time. Are you fucking kidding me?
We're not 16 anymore.
No, well, I mean, and we're just like, this is not safe. It's men, you need to know it's not safe for women. We don't feel safe coming to your house. Number one, if we don't know you, we're not going to go to your fucking house. I'm not going to anyone's house I don't know.
Yeah, and what's that quote? Like, men are scared that women are gonna make fun of them, and women are afraid men are gonna kill them.
Yeah,
or something like that. It's like it's a real thing.
Yeah. It's real.
I will say also vice versa, because there are serial killer women as well.
Right, but like, isn't it rare? Isn't it like what's
rare.
the, you know that
it's rare.
They don't get caught as much.
Yeah, they don't get caught as much because they're less suspecting.
But it's usually not usually, I don't know, I went to this really awesome panel on female serial killers a couple years ago at WisCon at this feminist sci-fi convention. But they were talking about how a lot of female serial killers get away with it for a while because they kill people that like were expected to die anyway. And they poison. They're more discreet, you know.
Who was the one that the monster?
Eileen Wuornos.
Eileen
Wuornos.
Charlize Theron. Yeah.
Yep, Eileen Wuornos. She was I don't know. Either she was an extreme feminist and decided to kill all men.
She got raped. She got fucked with.
Or some of the things she said actually happened, because some of the situations and the way that the men were found murdered did not depict the story that she would tell as to why she killed them. Not saying it didn't happen, because it very well could have. Some of those situations more than likely did happen. And some of them I do believe, especially like the first person she killed, I do believe that her rate is.
Yeah, because the people that she was dealing with, and that's another thing. Like, I had some really big questions about that. I'm like, okay, if you're a hooker for a year, how many men are you going to come across in a year that are going to hit you or not pay you or whatever the situations were?
And she had been dealing with that for years.
Yeah, so this had been going on for years. So actually, she didn't kill that many when you look at it. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, because I'm sure she got hit more than, 5 or 6 years, I'm sure. So honestly, I don't know. Hers is a really interesting situation. I think it could be argued on both sides of the matter. Was she a serial killer or was she just defending herself in the jungle?
Yep. And it was a mixture of both. It definitely, because there was some monetary gain to just killing a John.
For sure.
It's always a monetary gain. And also gaining a vehicle and being able to continue to move.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
that. She did do that. I think when she did start doing it, she had some complicating factors.
Just like we said in our, other one about in our other episode, My Brain When We Do It, sometimes you get a taste for it. Sometimes the first time is self-defense or an accident.
It's an accident. Yeah. The first time is an accident.
Feelings are love is addicting. Feelings are addicting. So then that feeling, that rush that you get from that, even serial dating, you get a rush from knowing that many people are craving your attention, or you can spread whatever to that many people. That's addicting to you. So it's hard to say with Miss Warnos and her child.
Do you think it's a level of control with both of those, where it's like, I can control your attention, I can control like that,
Yeah, for sure.
Getting off on like successful manipulation and
well, and she also maintained a relationship while doing this. Now, the fact that her lover decided to say, "Oh, I didn't know what she was doing," I think is complete and total bullshit. She just wanted immunity, but the fact that she also maintained a relationship, and she said that a lot of the things that she did was to make sure that her partner would stay with her, to make sure that she could give her, the house she wanted, the life she wanted, and all of those things. And it just continuously failed. So she continuously had to kill Johns and take their money and get this and that.
And then again, she's blaming it on her partner, where she's like, I didn't do it for me. I did it because of her.
I wanted her to stay with me.
Right. And that's shifting the blame, where it's like, it's not my fault that I killed them. I had to take care of my girlfriend.
Yeah. And I mean, it wasn't a huge factor. Hers was more so, I had been beaten and raped my entire life. How do you not expect somebody to retaliate? How do you expect somebody to not to continue that way when they have a way to defend themselves? That was her major thing.
I wish we hadn't killed her, though. I wanted to keep her alive. We needed to talk to her more.
Oh,
he had the death sentence, right?
Yeah. Yep, she is. She has since been put to death. There was quite a lot of people made a lot of money off of her, unfortunately, and in some really shady ways.
It's so sad.
Yep, there's a couple. There's what is it? Making money off of a serial killer. I believe there's a couple documentaries about it, and the lawyer that she ended up with, he was a POS. That guy was a sociopath. Don't date the person who defended Eileen Wuornos, because he'll steal all of your money and then sell your story for money.
And that's another reason some people like date serial killers in prison, to like write a book about it or to like sell a movie deal about it. And, because there's this this like misconception where it's like, the person dating the killer on the inside is the one getting manipulated, but really the person on the outside is the one with the power. Like, this person's like in a completely controlled environment. You know where they are, you know what they're doing. And then you're like on the outside with like a story to tell. And you didn't even fucking kill anyone.
Nope. You just.
I never thought of like the people dating serial killers would like as being like manipulative or like narcissistic or sociopath. But yeah, that makes sense.
I never thought about that until today.
No, there are. I know of one in particular who's dating Manuel Cortez, who's a serial killer in Oregon, and he's married, but he's got other women he's writing and stuff. We've gotten calls from investigators just 6 months ago. They're still looking at some killings he's done. And I suspect this girl that's writing him is doing that so she can do a book specifically.
Wow.
Makes sense.
That's been going on for a couple of years. That's been going on for a couple of years. I'm keeping my eye on that bitch. Her name's Rita.
Oh,
Rita.
Rita?
we're watching you.
Rita.
We're going to watch it when your book comes out. We're going to see it.
We know about you, Rita. All right, ladies. Well, I feel like we've had a really good episode.
I think this has been fun.
Yeah, it's so much. It's been so. Thank you, because honestly, I wasn't in the best of moods before this.
Well, we're always here to cheer you up with serial killers and giggling about them. And
I appreciate it.
It's the only way to talk about them, in all honesty.
It really is.
It's hard. It gets hard to be super serious because the things that they do and can do and are capable of, even if they're not serial killers, it can affect an entire family, your life, family, job, even your ability to take a shower.
Yeah, your mental health.
Everything. So it's important to be able to see those red flags before it gets to the point where you're like, what do I do? And I have been in those situations. Yes, I've been married, for quite a little bit of time. But before then, I had to learn. And I was in some pretty interesting situations that I still have trauma from. But I know those signs now, and I know what I will and will not put up with. So sometimes you do have to deal with it. But if you can listen to other people and hear those signs, oh, okay, I know checklists might sound stupid, but if you have a checklist in your mind of what you won't allow to happen to you, and each one of those check marks are checked off by that person that you're with, if you're able to, leave.
Yeah. And it's one of the things that we haven't covered so far that, closing remarks is it's amazing how normal a completely psychotic life can become. Like toxic relationships can become, it's amazing how quickly a very toxic and crazy situation can become normal.
Yeah, when you're in it, you can't really see out of it. It's like, I know, I've been in a few. And it becomes normal.
Yeah, and that's why the checklists are important. That's why listening to your friends are important. That's why checking in with your gut's important. And the checklists are great because they're external, they're objective, and it's something that you can apply even if you're in it. And even if it's like you can know it but not believe it. And then eventually those will align and you'll get out.
Even if you don't check the box, just reading it over and over again eventually, because in some situations you can sit there and people will tell you, no, this isn't good, this I see this, I see that. You're not going to listen to it. It's just like a drug addict. You're going to do it when all of a sudden click, damn, they were
this is fucking insane.
Like what so,
if you don't pay attention, you're doing a huge disservice to yourself. In a big fucking way.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
No, it's hard to see it and it's hard to accept it sometimes when you're like, damn, they were telling me this entire time. Yeah. It's hard.
And don't feel bad about it because this is how they survive. Manipulators are very good at it because it's how they get what they need. So if you've fallen for it, don't feel bad about yourself. It just means you're a caring person that has a vulnerability.
We've all done it. It's okay.
Yeah.
If you've been used by somebody that you cared about and you did a lot for.
Doesn't make you a bad person, doesn't make you dumb.
And think about how far that will go with someone who actually deserves that. And that's going to reciprocate it back to you,
Exactly. And it's amazing when it happens and you're like, damn, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Like, and then you run away from it because that's not what you're used to begin with. And then you're like, damn.
Yeah.
Oh, don't let me do that, guys. I'll
Never
do
done
that.
That's a whole other episode.
Hey,
Called
you know,
attachment styles.
Oh, are you doing an episode on attachment styles?
That's the next one that's coming out. I've already done it. Mhm.
Oh,
Good.
that's exciting.
But like,
Listen to that.
I only feel like I just like scratched the surface of it because there's so much.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of your posts about the attachment styles one, and we're all like, I feel personally called out.
Yeah.
It's true.
damn
Nobody
it.
wants to be their attachment styles.
No. I know I have weird I'm weird. I moved a lot into different states when I was younger. So my attachments to people were weird because they were never very long. And it took me the longest time for myself in romantic relationships and friendships and even family memberships to hold myself accountable for what I was doing or what I was saying. So I guess, I was a little bit of a psychopath when I was young. I don't know, maybe, but I could do and say whatever I wanted because I knew in 6 months I'd be gone.
Right.
And it didn't matter. I could be somebody completely and totally different when I was
You
younger.
have to adapt to that. So you probably are an avoidant attachment a little bit.
Yep,
is what I would
exactly.
say.
And you know what? I've owned up to it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this only because I know that I'm used to just leaving and not resolving situations. And so for me, as I've gotten older, that is something that I have identified in myself and have worked on. But it's hard. It's hard. And I don't blame people for having weird attachment styles because our generation was raised very oddly. So, you know.
Agree. Well, ladies, thank you so much.
That was so fun.
It's so much fun. I would love to do another one with you all.
Yes.
We should
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, every once in a while. And we can do like